Hi, welcome. If you don't know, my name is Amber. I am an author and a freelance editor. Today, I'm going to be revealing the cover of my 5th book, The Selected Poems of Amber Campbell. And without further ado, here she is. I absolutely loved how this turned out. So I went through probably about 5 or 6 iterations of this design, and oddly enough, they all resembled each other pretty closely, unlike my last 3 books covers. So let me go ahead and put them up on the screen really quick. So you'll see that they all pretty much look alike. I mean, the border is really the only thing that changed, and then like the size of the font and the spacing. I don't think I've done this little effort to like really change or overhaul a cover since my debut, which was that one right there. So the fact that this cover came together so well, and the fact that I knew what I wanted. So I had gone to Barnes & Noble back in August and was looking through their like collected poetry or collected story covers, because I kind of wanted to mimic that. And they were all, I don't know, I'll show clips probably, but they just didn't quite fit what I was looking for. But this cover, I am in love with it. I think it perfectly encompasses what I was going for. I wanted that orange cover because obviously Amber. I needed that orange color scheme so that it really encompassed everything that I wanted it to. So in addition to that, this is also obviously a collected set of my poems, in addition to what the other ones already were collections. So you're going to get snippets from The Ones, Missed Arrows, Daughter of the Bottle, and The Woman I Hold Dear, as well as a brand new collection of poems never before published. And this is one that was going to be published as a chapbook probably back over the summer. And it didn't happen. I had too much going on with my freelance editing clients. And I realized, you know what, let's go ahead and do a hardcover, because I don't have a hardcover. In fact, this will only be released as a hardcover. It will be an Amazon exclusive. I don't even know if I'm going to put it as an ebook. I think I might eventually, but for right now, it will just be in hardcover. And once I do eventually get it into the ebook format, it will more than likely be a Kindle Unlimited exclusive. So my whole idea there is, this is more of a taste of my poetry, especially through the years, because I started writing some of these pieces in 2022, and some of them were written like a month or 2 ago. So this is going to be the best introduction to my poetry writing style for someone who's never read anything, as well as to kind of be a nice little farewell, because I don't know if I'll publish more poetry after this, but I definitely wanted to combine all of those collections into one nice little package so that readers can see it and get a taste and then decide, hey, I really resonated with the poems from this section, so I'm going to go out and buy that book. Now, I know I've kind of hinted at the theme of these brand new unpublished pieces, and that is the reason why I will never actually reveal what the title of that section is. Once people start buying it, you know, eventually when I actually have a readership, it will probably be online at some point. But for now, I have no intent to actually say like what it is, or, you know, I all I'm telling you is politically charged. And we are going to leave it at that, because I think that is what is safest right now in this landscape. And so without further ado, I do believe, I don't remember exactly how many pieces it was. I think I'm saying 35 plus, because I can't remember if 39 or 40 pieces that ended up being in here. I had something like 52 pieces. And when I started going through and cutting them, I realized there were a lot that sounded similar. And the reason for that is I've been writing this little collection of pieces for about a year now. And there were times when I'd write 5-6 pieces in a week. There were times when I wouldn't write a poem for 2 months. So that's where a lot of that repetition was coming from. And when I would basically take one of the pieces, I actually merged them together to strengthen it as a whole, because it touched on different parts of the same topic, basically. And I was like, you know what, we can actually put these together and show it from different facets. And other poems, I'm like, you know what, this is just, it's not as strong as the others, and I haven't really had a collection that did that, where all the pieces were just so hard-hitting that I had to just start cutting the other ones because they just were not strong enough. This one, I actually went ahead, I'm going to go ahead and share the cost, because a video of the cost by itself would be the most boring video ever. So the first 115 pages have already been read by beta readers. I had a copy editor on one of them, so didn't pay for any editing there. I usually don't pay for editing on poetry. I've talked about this before. Once I start publishing fiction, I will be paying for, at the minimum, a proofreader. I am a copy editor, so I feel like I can probably copy edit it pretty well. Developmental editors, I don't think I'd need one, just because I plan on reaching out to urban fantasy beta readers and kind of testing the waters there to see how that works for me. So ISBNs, didn't use any of my ISBNs. I bought a pack of 10 back in 2023, so it'd be $29.50 for each one I used, but I didn't actually end up using any because this is going to be an Amazon exclusive hardcover, so I used one of their free ISBNs. I don't intend for this to ever go wide. And then I also did not pay for a cover because I designed this completely on Canva, and I did sign up for the free trial yesterday. Today is October 2nd. So I have a 30-day free trial, and I did that so I could download the CYMK coloring for the PDF print so it looks better when it prints. And what I'm going to do is just cancel the free trial right before, so again, paid nothing for the cover in that sense. Whenever you've seen like cover costs from me before, that was the Canva Pro subscription, so I could use those elements. Didn't need them with this one at all. Let me see. Another one would have been the proof copy. So to order the hardcover proof copy, it cost me $12.04, and that is actually the only cost that went into this collection. And I am... First of all, we're going to make the money back during release week because it is, I think, physically impossible for us to not to. But it's also a thing of make the money back as soon as possible and then help out my other collections. Because so far, The Ones, my debut, is the only one that's actually earned its money back, and it's also the only one that sold 100 copies. I've kind of touched on this before, and I think it's because I had such a long pre-order for it on Ingram Spark that I sold 60 copies to independent bookstores without even trying. And I plan on doing that with my fiction, is having a 3-month plus or longer, 3-month plus month pre-order, because I think that's actually what's going to help push it out to bookstores, because for me, that's actually what made a difference. Now, again, once I develop a readership among urban fantasy readers, then that probably won't be much of an issue. But that's what I'm going to do for the moment with that. And this will probably be a little bit more of the wrap-up, but the cover was completely different in terms of uploading it to KDP. So I've only published paperbacks and ebooks. And so I originally designed it, because I always have to have a cover somewhere in my mind designed, and I originally designed it like I did my paperbacks. Well, when I went to download the template, when I actually had the final page count, it will be 158 pages, by the way. Then once I went ahead and downloaded that, I realized that there is like a 1/2-inch gap on the top and the bottom, and there's like an inch extra on either side. It feels like an inch extra. I don't know if it is. And I realized I had to completely move around the entire design, because part of a hardcover, it wraps inside of itself. A paperback doesn't. So I had to consider that. And then when I when I ordered the proof copy, it looks like the border is going to be way too far in on the front, which means it'll probably be too far in on the back. But that could also just be where the spine curves. So I will have to see. That may be a small fix I need to make before it actually goes live. By the way, this is not going to be like a pre-order or anything, because it is a hardcover, so you can't pre-order it. But it will be available on November 7th. That was the most fall-sounding date I could think of. Don't ask me why, it just is. So November 7th is when it will be available, which I believe is just about 5 weeks away. Might be 4, I'm not sure. October's a longer month. But basically, the formatting for the interior was super easy, because I just used The Woman I Hold Dear and use that to set it up, because it had 5 sections as well, so I didn't even have to do anything. I just swapped them out. I do all my formatting in Word, so again, don't know if I'll be doing that for a fiction manuscript or not, poetry is super easy to do in Word. You don't need anything fancy for a poetry collection. But figured out the cover. That was great. Formatting interior was easy. This is a collection that I wanted to put together because I did not feel like it would be wise to produce that chapbook in this current landscape by itself with its title. So it is going to be safely tucked away into this selected poems, and if you would like it, it will be up on Amazon for $19.99. And that is because if I put it any lower, I think I'd make like $3 as opposed to $4.40. And if I put it down even lower, it's like $17.99, I think I would make $1. We're not playing that game. And then for those curious, if this is like my first self-publishing book video that you're finding, to publish my paperbacks, which I'll grab one really quick. So, Missed Arrows. 3 of my poetry collections, very, very skinny. They're about 125 pages or so. One of them is just at 100 pages, and those cost roughly $2.50 to print, which meant it was like actually more to ship it to me as a proof copy than to even print the book. This one is going to be $7.50 to print, so it's actually 3 times more, despite only being like 25 pages longer than the others. And so that's just kind of something to keep in mind if you are somebody who's like asking what's going on with these book prices rising. It's because it costs that much more to print a hardcover. It is 3 times more expensive to print a hardcover, which is why these hardcovers are going up to $20, $25, $30 in some cases, especially for nonfiction. Nonfiction's always more expensive than fiction because they don't really intend to sell as many nonfiction as they do fiction. So, but I am so excited for you guys to see this, to buy it. It is fantastic. I love it. I'm biased. That's okay. And it will be available on November 7th, and I will be posting about it here and on my Instagram. Not that anybody goes to my Instagram, but that's okay. YouTube is where it's at. I've said that many times. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I will be posting more about it, some behind the scenes as we go, and I will catch you guys all very, very soon. Bye.
There was once a day that I would pray for you. I'd go and miss me.